everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'll be drawing a character from Jujutsu Kaisen in my diary. A real diary. And here's the character named Choso. I have already drawn the outline of this particular character. Stick around till the end to see how it turns out. Okay, if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, here I'm using a black ball pen to draw the outline. So, in the next few minutes, I'll be using a black ball pen to draw the outline. I like using ball pens because they give a clean and crisp look to the sketch, and there is no erasing. So, every stroke has to be intentional. Here, I have Choso's side profile, focusing on his sharp features and that serious expression that really defines his character. I'll start with the face structure first, making sure to get the angles right. His jawline is strong and his hair has those signature spiky strands. So, I'll be careful with that. Since I'm using a black ball pen, I have to be careful with my strokes. I'm using quick, confident lines to create the spiky effects. The key here is to follow the natural direction of the hair. His spikes fan out from the center, so I'm making sure each strand moves outward with a sharp, jagged feel. With the hair mostly done, you can already see how much personality it adds to the drawing. So, now I'll be moving on to refining the shadow on his face to match the depth of his hair. Let's keep going. Chozo's eyes are narrow and slightly slanted, which adds to his calm yet intimidating presence. And of course, I can't forget his signature face markings. These dark lines under his eyes are what make him instantly recognizable. I'm carefully outlining them, making sure they curve naturally with the shape of his face. Since I'm using a ball pen, I'm making my strokes soft and subtle. Now that the outline is complete, it's time to fill in Chozo's hair with a black sketch pen. Since his hair is really dark, I want to make sure I get a solid, even fill while still keeping some highlights for depth. I'm starting with the base layer, carefully filling in the larger sections with smooth, even strokes. I don't want any patchy areas, so I'm making sure to go over the lines consistently. To make the hair look more natural, I'm leaving a few thin white streaks in some areas to create highlights. Now that the hair is fully colored, I'm moving on to adding muscle strokes on his upper body using a black pen. Since I'm working with just line art and shading, I'll use fine strokes to create depth and definition. Now that the muscle strokes are done, it's time to add shading. Since this is my first time trying this technique, I'll be using a pencil for the shading and blending it out with my fingertip to create a smooth effect. I'll begin by highlighting shading around the collarbone and neck muscles. I'm keeping the pressure soft at first so I can build up the shadows gradually. The goal is to create a nice gradient rather than harsh lines. To make the shading pop even more, I'm going back in with my pencil and darkening a few areas, then blending slightly so it still looks smooth. I'm also leaving some highlights untouched to create contrast and give the muscle more three-dimensional look. That's it for the shading. This was my first time trying this technique and I really like how it's turning out. Next, I'll focus on adding final details to make the drawing even more polished. Let's keep going. Now that the upper body is shaded, let's move on to shading Chozo's face. I'll be using the same technique as before, pencil shading and blending with my fingertip to create smooth transitions and realistic shadows. For the eyes, nose, and lips, I want to make sure the shading adds depth while keeping the features sharp. I lightly shade around his eyes and the bridge of his nose, but I'm avoiding the areas where the highlights should stay bright. This gives the face more dimension. Now that the shading is mostly done, I'm going to go back and highlight some areas using an eraser. This technique helps bring out the highlights and add contrast, making the drawing more dynamic. With these highlights added, the drawing is really coming to life. The contrast between light and dark gives Choso a more three-dimensional and dynamic look. Now I will just refine a few final details to wrap things up. Until now, if you are watching this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. In the I button, I'm adding a video of Sukuna where I had drawn him using freehand method. You can watch it as well. And if by now you're watching this video, you learned something today, then do comment below. Yes, I did learn something. I would love to see those comments. Now that the drawing is completed, it's time to add the finishing touch, Choso's name. I'll start by lightly writing it with the pencil so I can adjust the positioning before going over it with a black sketch pen. For meantime, let me tell you some hilarious movements from Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a story of Yuji and Nobara. They act like a chaotic sibling duo. One of the best moments is when they make fun of Megumi, teasing him about his serious personality. They literally sing Fushiguru so gloomy, Fushiguru so boring, while Megumi just stands there regretting his life choice. Like you all know, Gojo Satoru is basically the king of trolling. One of the funniest moments is when he removes his blindfold dramatically and says, "I'm so beautiful." It's crazy, right? While poor Yuji and Megumi just stare at him in confusion. Isn't it funny? Tell me in the comment section which of the Jujutsu Kaisen character you love the most. From this Jujutsu, I love Gojo Satoru and Yuji Itadori. So these are two of my favorite characters. You can comment down below who is your favorite character. I had already drawn Sukuna, Gojo, and Nobara and Yuji as well. You can check those out, okay? And here comes.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit.
And here is the behind the scene. I have ruined the second page of the story, but let it be, it's alright.